one will never.
options.
I don't know which was worse, this last one or the one we did in Portland, where, honest to God, I don't remember anything.
Oh,
Yeah.
the round table one?
Yeah.
Or I say round table, but it was a group of people.
I mean, we were at a round table.
Yeah, I was really fucking drunk.
Yeah.
You
weren't
were at
there,
that one,
Phil?
Phil?
No.
I was going to say, no, I did. Is that after my time?
Yeah.
No, but like I think we dunked collectively on Zend, on Laravel, on other things with like Cal and Adam sitting right there. And I was just like,
Oh, damn.
who cares?
Yeah, everyone's a dick. That's awesome. Actually, yeah, so that's one of the first questions I want to ask is like, what drama have I missed out on? What juicy gossip has there been recently? So
Oh, there was that Jack McDade thing.
Oh God. Did you see that, Phil?
Oh yeah, yeah. Jack McDade. Yeah, he's like, well, I like Trump because
Someone-
abortions. Like that seems like a really valid reason.
People
Oh, there we go.
were trying to get mad at me when after the insurrection, I was like, "Is this the Christian values that Jack McDade voted for?" And people are like, "Oh, come on!" And I'm like, "No, like this is his problem now." All right.
What other dramas there been?
Hold up.
Oh, I thought this was it.
I'm gonna
Was it
fix
not the
this.
show?
Oh shit! It's been recording for a while.
We're doing a cold start, I guess. Coming out strong.
Just coming out hot. What other drama has there been though?
I feel like it's been quieter lately.
Well, I mean that's because Phil has been busy trying to plant trees and not,
Stirring the shit.
stirring the shit. I'm trying like the last piece of drama that I instigated was like last year, and that's when I said something about Laravel being the testing grounds of Symphony,
I like no.
and even Taylor was like, no, like most of the Laravel is its own thing now, and I was like, okay, cool.
I think most of the time I'm just too old and sober to care about the drama anymore.
You should have said it used to be the testing ground for Symphony, but now you've got a lot of time on your hands because you're ripping off your community and you can just flop out a bunch of nonsense whenever you feel like it.
How do you really feel?
I mean, that's not based on anything. I just thought it'd be fun and hurtful. We're not live, right?
PHP cancel culture. How Phil got Matt and Ben canceled from that podcast.
There's a reason
I'm just
why
kidding.
you can't find Phil anymore.
Yeah. I'm gonna banish Phil to Russia.
He's already been banished to the English countryside.
That's true. That's pretty bad.
I hear you.
Yeah.
It's dangerous out there. You can get pneumonia and shit.
Well, I don't know. The way their government's going, you might get COVID.
That's true. I feel like I might get it off Boris Johnson directly somehow. It's gonna be his fault.
What a wanker.
Shall we? He is a wanker.
He is. All right. What episode is it? Welcome to episode 79 of the PHP Town Hall podcast, Sturgeon Run V2. As you can guess, we are back with our former host, best friend for life, English person who got kicked out of the country, Phil Sturgeon. And how's it going, Phil?
Hey, pretty good, pretty good. What's going on with you guys? Ben, have you managed to finish that giant mouthful of food I can see you just had there, or what's going on?
I'm eating like 4 inches of sub at a time, trying to get through this real quick.
That's what she
4
said.
inches all at once. Do you want to start again?
I was going to say 6, and I was like, I got to change this real quick on the fly.
It wasn't that much better.
No.
Jesus. Yeah, I feel like we should start that one again.
Not the strongest start.
Otherwise, the drama will be how Matt and Ben got into a sexual innuendo conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome to episode 79 of the PHP Town Hall Sturgeon Run V2, and we're back with Phil Sturgeon, former host and PHP extraordinaire. Phil, how's it going?
Hey, not too bad. Thanks for having me back on the podcast. It's nice to be home. What's going on with you guys?
I think it's been about, 2 years or so since you've been on. What have you done? What have you been up to? What haven't you done?
Not much. I mean, I rage quit my job, left America, cycled 2 laps of Europe, and then started a reforestation charity. So, you know, same old shit, really. Yeah, what's going on?
Ben, how's it going?
Oh, things are good. It's pretty horrible out today. I went out to the store and it's almost died a few times. It's great.
Is it so? Wait, you're further south than me. So is it like snowy and icy down there too, or is it just cold?
Nah, just super rainy, thunderstorms.
That's not too bad. I mean, I can't even go out to the store because it's like a layer of ice outside.
I mean, you could.
I mean, no store is open right now.
Is it just sliding trucks everywhere? I just imagine it's like that one video on Twitter. Just everywhere you look, there's just sideways trucks shimmying around the road.
So I live like right by it's like a main road in the area, and some car just pulled out of my apartment complex and just spun its front wheel for what seemed like a good 5 or 10 minutes before it finally gained traction to keep moving. So yeah, that's pretty much what it's like here.
I think if you manage to get the tires hot enough, it melts the ice, and then you're fine. Is that how it works?
You know, I hope so. That should be. Wouldn't that be bad? Because that would burn the rubber, and then that would like make you have to work harder because you'd have to plant more trees, right?
That is very true. Yeah, please don't let me plant more. I managed to get pneumonia from planting trees this weekend. Just hanging out in a cold field for 48 hours is apparently a pretty good way to get sick. So I'm gonna have to take the next 4 days off planting trees because there's more to plant this weekend. So.
Did you like have a tent or something, or just out in the field with nature?
I was out in the nature. I had to take photographs of 1,440 trees with no glove on because I had them cycling gloves that don't work on the screen. And I wasn't really sure where I was going to sleep, but then the farmers put me up in a shepherd's hut, which had like an electric blanket and a little fire in it. It was the cutest, coziest, quaintest little thing in the world.
You have like a nice sheep to cuddle?
Yeah. Luckily, it's a arable farm now, but if there were sheep around, I would have cuddled one for warmth. You know
it. Oh man! All right, so where are you working at these days, Phil? What kind of stuff are you doing?
Oh, I work for a company called Stoplight. If you are in the API world, you might be pretty familiar with them. They have a whole bunch of API design tools. And if you're not in the API world, you should check them out because if you make APIs, they're really helpful. Yeah, I've been there for like 2 years, and what have I been doing? I've been doing all sorts of jobs for them. I kind of started off just slinging code with making Spectral, helping to make Spectral, which is kind of like Specky, which we talked about. Different podcast, Matt. I forget which the hell podcast we're on sometimes. But yeah, Spectral is an API linter you can use to make a style guide for your API designs. And then Prism's like a mock-in tool so that you can kind of build this fake API before you build your real one, and then like prototype and play around with it before you waste time writing code. And then we've got a bunch of like documentation tools and an open API editor, so you don't have to write fucking YAML by hand all the time. You can just like click a few buttons and derp your way through it, and it's nice and easy. So yeah, making stuff like that by day, and then working on kind of save the planet stuff with any spare time and money I managed to drag together. Yeah.
So what's where did this come from, right? What I saw was you just kind of quit everything, got kicked out of the country, and now you're a tree hugger. So walk us through a little bit how this happened. Yeah,
the leaving America was mostly because I really hated my job. Like WeWork was an absolute mess. I've done a lot of posts. I did a lot of blog posts about how it was a mess while I was there, but they were just some really creative blog posts about like really terrible API versioning or like weird situations that happen when you don't use any timeouts or circuit breakers anywhere in a distributed system, and one third-party API crashes, and then people can't go and take a shit. Like all these weird things that happen. But yeah, between all of the kind of technical problems and just general burnout from firefighting all the time and getting no recognition whatsoever, I just really wasn't in a good mental state. I was, shouting at strangers on the internet slightly more than usual. And, just generally burnt out and hated everything. So life finally got to a point where I decided that as much as I wanted to stay in the States, I didn't want to stay there enough to keep working at a job I fucking hated. And the type of job I was on, the type of visa I was on wasn't transferable. It's like an O1, you got tied to that job. So I basically said, fuck it, I'm out of here. Flipped the table, took the cheapest flight I could find out of the country after I sold all of my stuff, and ended up in the Canary Islands because it was like $180 one way to just get plopped off on Gran Canaria. And so I had like one backpack and a bike, and that was it. And then I just started cycling around the place. Yeah.
So a quick aside, when you did this, I thought you were just a complete dumbass. Because here's like, WeWork's going to IPO in like 3 days. And and I'm like, what the fuck? And then that whole thing just turned into a burning dumpster fire within you leaving. So I think you held it all together yourself.
Yeah, man, I got cheated out of some options in a real stupid way and a bunch of other stuff. Like when I was about to leave, they did this whole thing where they were like, we will buy. They were doing like an options buyback because they were trying to raise that extra 4 billion or whatever it was, right? And so they said, we'll take a bunch of options off you at this price. And I was like, oh, great, I'll take those. That sounds brilliant. Give me all of them. And there was some little small print in there that was like, if we don't take all of them, then we'll let you know how many you have left. But they timed it so that I got the letter saying like, oh, we've only taken a few of them. And actually most of them we're not going to bother. I got that letter, I think the day before the deadline ran out, because like I quit just after I found out that was kind of going through, and I was like, great, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to get some cash. It's all going to work out perfectly. But they timed that letter to be like, lol, no, you can't. And yeah, I lost a bunch of money. But then I was quite glad about it because those options would be worth absolutely fucking nothing by the end of it. So yeah, that company went from crazy person with a Jesus complex to crazy person wandering about Union Square barefoot real fast. Glad to not be there anymore. But yeah, my plan was just ride a bike around like up and down this big old volcano for a while and like chill by the beach with some drink with an umbrella in it. And I figured like a month is infinite time. That's so long. I'm totally going to be over my burnout after a month. And then like 3 weeks in, I'm still cycling up this mountain surrounded by like beautiful people and beautiful scenery, and like literally cycled up a mount 4,000 meters up in a single day. You're up so high that when you look out, you can't see the sea or the ground. You can just see the tops of clouds and the tops of other islands poking through, and they call it the Sea of Clouds. It's the most beautiful thing in the world. And I was still arguing with my like dickhead manager in the back of my head. I should have said this. It's just really, really unhealthy stuff, you know, to be like that wound up and that angry. So yeah, I was thinking like maybe I could take a ferry back to the mainland and then cycle to London. That would be cool. I could just start a new life in London, I guess. And then I got working with Stoplight, and they were saying like maybe we can get you a new visa, one of the ones that's transferable, not these ones that tie you to the job. And maybe you can come to Texas. I'm like, cool, yeah, London, Texas, pretty much same thing, either one. But I would have to wait around somewhere for like a year anyway. So I thought, screw it, I'll just start riding my bike. And originally it was for a couple of months. Maybe I'll go hang out with the team in Poland. And then got there and everyone was like, where are you cycling next? I'm like, I don't know. Greece. And they just kept like every month they'd just be like, so where are you going now? I'm like, well, I don't know, Sweden's interesting, I guess. And I just kept riding just all over the place. But the tree stuff got involved because I was like, everywhere I went was just really deforested, and I thought that I was just picking shitty routes, and then I realized that everywhere is shitty. And like I try going to all these national parks, try going to like you're in the Alps and it's just casinos, and you're in like Andorra, which is this beautiful little country tucked away in the mountains between France and Spain, and it's just all valleys, and the valley floor is just shopping malls, right, and ski resorts, and it's just miserable. And like everywhere I went, I kept thinking like maybe the nature's somewhere else, and I just didn't find it. So started working with Ecology, used to be called Offset Earth, to raise a bunch of money for trees, and now I've got my own charity that works with them, planting trees in the UK. So yeah, is my entire life story. Thanks for having me. Talk to you guys soon.
It's great. Yeah, thanks, Phil. No.
Quick.
So one thing that is interesting, right? So you're cycling all over the place. How are you working in the process? What's your your setup? Are you just on the side of the road with your laptop out, propped up on your bike, or what's going on there?
Yeah, that. Yeah, so pretty much that. In COVID times, it's a lot harder because you can't just go chill in a coffee shop wherever you want, right? It is a bit trickier. You have to kind of bounce from hotel to hotel to hotel now, and that's not been as fun. But yeah, so I started doing this, what was it, January, February, March 2019. And I was like full on cycling around for about a year before COVID times really hit. And yeah, some days I would, if I'm staying in a hotel, I'd wake up, take my laptop downstairs to the hotel buffet and just hang out down there, ruining staff's lives for 2 hours, just eating the entire thing, trying to get my calories back, right? You burn 4,000 calories the day before, game on, and you just work a whole bunch on your laptop at breakfast, and then you go ride for a little bit, stop for a coffee, work for another hour or two, and then you keep riding for a few more hours and stop for dinner. So some of those days are kind of, leapfrog, or some days I just wake up and ride like hell until my legs don't work anymore and kind of stop for a few calls here and there. But it really depends on what's going on. But I had my laptop, I had a battery pack that could charge the laptop, so it kind of doubled or tripled the length of the battery life. I've got my iPhone with a personal hotspot and a decent data plan. It started off just as my Sprint, like American mobile phone network, with an even more expensive bundle on it to use it in different countries. But yeah, pretty easy. Like, people thought it was real hard, but there's internet everywhere. Just anywhere you go in the mountains, there's internet.
So I mean, like when you get when your coworkers had like an issue or something like that, like how did you discern, like, I have to get off the bike right now and fix this, or it can wait until I'm at the next city where I can sit down and kind of work on this thing?
Yeah, that's a good point. So a lot of the work I was doing, sometimes it was just kind of like reviewing pull requests, and so a lot of that can happen quite asynchronously. A lot of the team was already in Poland, and some of them were in America, so we were already quite asynchronous. But yeah, sometimes things would pop up. We had a numeric system, 1 to 5, right? Like one was just whenever you get around to it, mate, and 5 was like, holy shit, pull over now, find a tree to loiter underneath and get this sorted out. And yeah, that worked out really well. Like, my theory was, I don't need to do 8 hours a day. I just need to make sure that no one's blocked. Because the work I was doing wasn't really writing code so much as it was like doing reviews and helping people with planning and like solving random questions that came up. So it was kind of more like a 12-hour working day, where there were some Europeans that would wake up and have questions, and then they used to have to wait for Americans to wake up, and that was kind of rubbish. And so now I'm kind of the person in between, in the middle, that helps kind of solve those problems before the Americans wake up. So yeah, just be riding my bike along. Someone would be like, "Phil, I need help," and then I'd just be like sat in a field in Serbia, just answering their questions.
So I mean, did you ever, like, sitting in a field with a laptop and a bike, probably looking a little disheveled, tired, sweaty, did like cops ever come up to you and say, "What are you doing"?
Never had the cops. Lots of random people. There have been a few times where just like random person driving by stops and starts asking me questions, and like I'm just like reaching for the knife in one of my bike bags. And then they just want to ask questions. They're like, where, they just end up asking like, "Where did you start? Where are you going? Oh man, that's so cool," or whatever. Or yeah, Bosnian truck drivers like pulling over to like ask if they could buy me a lemonade because they liked my bike and shit. Just wanted to chat with me about my adventure. I realized that sounds way more dangerous than it was, but he was a nice guy.
Is buy me a lemonade like an innuendo in Europe that I'm unaware of, or was this an actual lemonade?
Yeah, I'm not very up on Bosnian pickup lines, but I guess I am now. Yeah, I've learned one.
So real important. The listeners can't tell this, but do they not have haircuts in Europe right now?
Oh man, I am working on a mullet essentially. Yeah, I think I was about 6 months overdue before our most recent lockdown. So it's gone from shit show to I don't even know what comes after shit show. But yeah, I'm scared. Please help me. Have you guys ever cut your own hair? Do you know how to do this?
I've shaved my head, but I don't know if you want to go that far.
Yeah.
I think you should.
The only scissors I have are like cuticle scissors that I use to occasionally jab my beard a little bit ad hoc. But I feel like I'm not going to get very far on my hair with that.
What's that thing? Didn't Jose Gonzalez like shave his head at a Cake PHP conference or something that one time? You could pull one of those. Do it for charity. Do it for trees. See how many trees it takes you to shave your head.
Oh, could it be anyone that's not him?
No, you.
Can we like find someone that used to bully me at school to do it or something?
I mean, you could totally auction off, 100 trees to shave your head or whatever it is.
That is true. That is true. I did some charity waxing a few years back when I was up in Newcastle on the startup incubator. I can't remember what it was for, but it was £10 for every strip of wax you remove from my chest, and it was like a live event at a pub. And they started off on like right boob, and then they just decided that I wasn't in enough pain, so they started working their way down my chest, and they got quite a long way down before it was terrible. But I think I managed to raise £30, so it was all worth it.
I don't know how much a tree costs, but I'll give you 1,000 if you do your eyebrows.
Oh shit! Yeah, I actually owe Matt. I owe you and our co-host from the APAs You Won't Hate podcast. Was it 2,000 trees each? I bet 2,000 trees that Trump would get re-elected, and just not hoping that he would. I know there are some people in the PHP community that feel that way, which was pretty hilarious. But I really thought that he was going to end up getting re-elected, and thankfully I was wrong. But yeah, I've got to put some trees in your account, huh?
At some point, yeah. I mean, I just figured you're going to plant them and then call it a day, really. But,
yes. I keep accidentally spending all my money on trees.
What's involved in planting a tree yourself, right? Like you're actually digging the hole and putting seeds in, or what are you doing here?
Yeah. Well, so exactly that. Basically, started a charity which works with landowners all over the place. I mean, the lockdown farm I was on, I ended up in a lockdown on a farm because I had to Airbnb somewhere. Turned out to be a cool cottage on a farm, and made friends with them, and they agreed that I could plant a bunch of trees there. And then I talked to a bunch of other farmers, and they're cool with it too. And basically, yes, it's really kind of started off real small, simple way. But now we've kind of joined up with a few other organizations, right? There's Farmers and Wildlife Environment. Oh God, they've all got acronyms. I can't remember. But there's this one local charity, one local organization that works with farmers to figure out how they can improve the yield of their farm, right? And make it better for the environment at the same time. And sometimes they just need a bit of money to do some of that work. And so my charity acts as a go-between between funding partners like Ecology, who have got a bunch of people that would like to pay money to fix the environment, and the people that have land that can do stuff but don't necessarily have the money. And so we just kind of work on joining all those people up. And so as well as filing a shitload of paperwork, which is most of what I spend most of my time doing, there's also that like wonderful day where you actually go and get to plant some trees. And so there's one chartered forester, Eddie Cruikshank. He said planting a tree is step number 42 of forestry. And it really bloody is. You have to get permission from every single son of a bitch in the whole area. They're like 8 different governmental organizations. And you have to ask the local parish council and the Bird Watchers Society, and you have to do a survey of the local sheep to find out if they have any opinions or it might damage their view of the pond nearby. And once you've got everyone to agree that you can plant these trees, then off you pop. Luckily, if the projects are small enough, they don't care. So anything under Different, it depends, different parts of the UK, but like if it's less than a couple of football pitches, you can kind of do it without that much permission. But as soon as it's a little bit bigger, you essentially have to get planning permission to be able to do it. And that can, like, we had one project that took 5 months to get a no, so we cut it in half just to skip the planning permissions phase, and then now we're going ahead. You know what I mean? So the dig in the tree is really easy. You just get a shovel, you just shove the shovel in, and spade, and then just like dig a little hole, or you just dig a slit and push it backwards and forwards, jab the tree in, and then like kick the mud down, and then that's that. Real simple.
So like how does technology play into this though? Like, I mean, you're a noted, semi-noted API developer. People know who you are.
Notorious.
I've heard of them.
The notorious API dev.
Yeah.
Like, as you're obviously this is a very physical job, but like, are you able to use technology in any sort of way, APIs or anything like that, so that way you can make it easier on yourself?
Yeah, there's a bunch of really interesting things starting to come up. So one of the things is tracking them trees, right? Like, people want to know that you've actually planted some trees. This ain't some airline, tree planting scam where they charge you a whole bunch of money and put one shrub in the car park and say they did 1 million trees or whatever. This is something that people can see. We're putting the trees on a map, and we're tracking every single one, photograph of each one. We've got a really simple iOS app that's put together by a volunteer, which is really cool. Everyone just wants to help with this project, which is called Protect Earth, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned the name of the charity, but people want to help. So there's one chap made an iOS app, and while you're out about in the field, take photographs of each tree you plant, mark what species it was. It goes up to our Airtable. Just because being lazy, didn't feel like building a whole back end for it, and it totally works really well. So then we've got all the coordinates and the what 3 words to track them. And then we expose that as a read-only API to Ecology, who can kind of then ingest it into their system, right? Because when you're a paying member on Ecology, you are paying to plant trees. And if you're a business, then you can kind of do a premium option, which is like, I want to plant UK trees, and they're a bit more expensive. They're £3 something on their system. And when you do that, it goes off to partners like ourselves. So they ingest that data from our Airtable through our API into their system, so that it shows up the picture and the coordinates and the what 3 words on your profile, on your forest when you sign up. And beyond that, we're trying to look into kind of a step 2 of that, which, curious about what you guys would think. We want to basically maybe slap a QR code on the tree tube. You know, those big kind of sad plastic tubes that they use. We're trying to get away from those and maybe use cardboard tubes instead. But we want to like stick a QR code sticker on that, so we can come around. My charity goes back to check on the trees every 6 to 12 months, right? See how they're all doing. But we want to be able to go like, bop, fuck, a deer ate this one. Well, we'll replace it. Or like, oh, this one's doing all right. Like, here's an updated photograph of this tree. Some people are saying like use RFID chips, and I'm like, cool. Now the cost of trees is 3 times more because we got RFIDs on them. But there's got to be something out there we could use to track the progress of these trees, right?
I really thought you were gonna like stamp a QR code to the trunk of the tree, and that just sounds like completely antithetical to everything. No, I mean, like, if you had like a QR code on like the tree tube, and then let's say it uploaded to, like, I know you have Airtable right now, but like if you updated or uploaded it to Twitter, so that way, like, you know, there's a constant stream of tree updates. That would be kind of interesting and fun, I guess.
I think people would get a little bit miserable with that when I upload the 1,440 photographs I just took of exactly the same looking tree. Because when they're so tiny,
that's an oddly specific number.
Yeah, well, that's how many they planted. I hope I have exactly 1,440 pictures, or I have to cycle another 65 kilometers and hope I don't get pneumonia again. But yeah, they come in funny orders. What's really funny is sometimes with the first batch we did 100 trees the first time around. It was a really sad story. The nearby nursery was going to mulch 1 million oak saplings. They were just going to shred them because COVID had meant that people weren't planting trees. So this 1 million were going to go in a wood chipper, and people were shouting like, "Oh, quick, we need to claim them." and we managed to get 100 for our farm. I wish it could have got us more, but we already had like 3,000 come in from somewhere else. And yeah, I planted them. And I was like, fuck, I've only got photographs of 92. Where did the other ones go? And I don't know if I dropped some lying around or whether I planted them and didn't upload a photograph of them or something else happened. But I was like, hey, great news, everybody. We've planted 92 trees. Like, that sounds suspect.
You need to be able to like just fly a drone over and check on the trees, right? It seems like you just cycle that far.
That's what I've been doing, actually. So while I was in lockdown on the farm planting them trees, it was really nice. We put them all over the place because some of the planting we're going to do is just like, here's a giant field. Now it's a giant forest, right? Like you just do that whole field. But some of these were kind of spread around all up hills and all around the corner. And so I just sat there with my little drone, DJI Mavic Mini. And it can't go very far, and it gets upset when it's cold or wet or anything other than perfectly normal room temperature. But it was really handy to just sit there and like drink a cider and fly this thing over and go check up on the trees. And a few times I'd find that one of them had fallen over, and I just like go run up the hill and pop it back up again. So it's pretty nice not to have to do stuff. But yeah, now we've got we're up to 2,000 trees. We're planting another 1,500 this weekend. And another 1,500 the weekend after that, and they're spread out all over the country, and it's just going to get more and more difficult to keep track of them. But yeah, luckily the farmers go out, like the landowners go and have a check and make sure things are doing generally okay. And then every time I go back, I'm going to cycle up, or one of the other team's going to go and have a look, and we'll just fly the drone around and show how things are doing. And then hopefully we can give interesting looking videos of like, you know, superimpose the same route over every year, so you can see different seasons, different times, different years. You can see how them trees are coming along, and then hopefully people will realize it ain't a scam, because there's so many scams in the reforestation space. It's really hard to get people to trust you, and there's so many silly articles that come out like, did you know sometimes reforestation's bad because some idiot planted in a peat bog in the 90s, and now everyone's and suddenly a forestry expert telling me that actually, Phil, did you know sometimes planting trees is bad? Oh, thanks. I didn't know that. So,
how does this work with the landowners, right? Are you renting like a 1 square foot space from their land? So like, is it year by year, or how's that work?
Different projects work in different ways. Basically, we have 5 different landowners at the moment, and some of the motivations are very different. We aren't renting any of their land. They still own the land, but we are helping hook them up with money in various different ways. So some of them don't actually want any money. Some of them wanted to reforest parts of their land for reasons like, one of them is a farm that's been converted to a wedding venue, like an event space, and they really wanted to have a nice woodland there, and they just couldn't afford it, and they couldn't afford to hire a, you know, expert forestry service who would come in, because you can hire these people and they're like, oh yeah, it'll be £2,000 for us to have a look at it, £2,000 for us to plant it, and then the trees will cost you another £4,000 or whatever, and that's mad. We've got a guy like a conservation officer, I call him, and he's really good, and he'll figure out what we should plant in what mix and where, and then we'll buy them all from a nursery wholesale, and we're a charity, so we get discounts, and then we just turn up with a bunch of volunteers and plant them all, and it doesn't cost them anything, and we get reimbursed from ecology for all the trees we plant. So sometimes they just literally want to plant trees and don't want to spend money on it, which is fine, because a lot of us that don't have land would like it if people planted trees, so that kind of works out. And sometimes, honestly, it's just a diversification of income. There's a lot of different government grants around that are really bloody obtuse and hard to figure out, and we've got a guy who knows them inside and out. And so for projects of a certain size, there are things like the government can reimburse you for your tree money, and then you can you don't have to charge ecology quite so much, and you can have some of that money kept around for maintenance and things like that. So there's various different ways to combine these different kind of income streams to pay the farmers to have this woodland for a little while. And then there are things like the woodland carbon code, which can give them an income for like 50 more years. If they just leave those trees alone and don't cut them down, then they could get an income for like 50 years from selling woodland carbon credits. And so, yeah, it's basically helping landowners discover how they can make money from forestry and guiding them through the whole process and doing a lot of the manual work for them. Because if it's just the government grants, I know landowners that have looked at it and gone, I thought about doing some reforestation, but it just doesn't make any sense. But if you can sprinkle a little bit more money in there from, you know, ourselves, from the public and from people like Ecology, then all of a sudden they go, oh, okay, yeah, let's do that then. Let's give that a try. And all of a sudden you got a whole bunch of trees. So
that's cool. Are most of these like they're reusing land from something else, or this is just sitting empty now? You know, like it was a cornfield and now it's trees, or is it just random?
Yeah, most of them are smaller at the moment. I think there's a few of these different landowners that are doing kind of a trial process with us. So most of our projects are kind of 500 to 2,000 trees. We were trying to do 3,000 on one, but that was the big one we had to cut in half. And basically, one of them I think is really interesting. It's the side of a riverbank is being eroded, and this fishing club have fishing rights to this bit, this really long stretch of riverbank. And there's just no trees there. They've all been removed by the farmer a long time ago. And basically they're not going to have anywhere to fish soon because they have rights to this land, and this land soon won't exist. So we're just planning that up with 500 trees so they can sit in the shade and fish, and that'd be nice. But other ones are like farms. Farms have bits that aren't being farmed, right? Like the bigger the farm, the more of these little gaps and hedges and margins that edges and margins that aren't going to be used, like a really pointy corner on a field that a tractor can't get into when it's doing its rounds, or like a really slopey bit between two flat bits of field that, you know, it's just too wonky for a tractor to get anywhere near. So there's quite a lot of these kind of gaps and bits that you can plant. But also there's a bit of a change in mindset, which is farmers for the last kind of 50 years have been ripping out every single hedgerow and every single bit, just getting as much square inch floor as possible, because then you can plant more stuff and then you get more money. But then you get soil erosion and like the wind just fucks up your crops, and there's no shade for anything, and the soil's bullshit, so you have to pile in fertilizers, but now everyone wants organic, so you can't do that anymore. So what they're starting to do is bring back more hedgerows, more trees, more shelter belts. What we planted at the other one, where you plant this really thick, dense row of trees, and it will make a windbreak that stops the wind coming through. And if you've got cows in the field, it stops the cows getting so cold, which is apparently good for their mental health. That's like an actual thing I read. Happy cows, because they've got these trees breaking the wind. And it like means that it's warmer in the field so that the crops grow better and all this other stuff. So it's not about taking up land that a farmer could use for agriculture, but it's about using bits of land they aren't using, or about making land they're already using more productive by making, you know, by bringing a bit of nature back and not making it this barren, desolate wasteland. Yeah.
So, I mean, like, how much time have you spent researching what trees are native to what areas, and how do you make sure that you're not putting an invasive tree species in a certain area?
Yeah, that is a good point. We have various different advisors that help with various different things, right? The first project we did, we were like, hello there, the Woodland Trust, what trees please do we have? And they kind of told us, and then interestingly they recommended some ones that shouldn't have gone there. So luckily we found better experts, and there's basically we have a chap, Steve Wiltshire, who we just say like, hey, go check out this field, go have a wander around. He ended up getting COVID, poor guy. He's pulled through, but he's had to do a lot of desk-based searches for now, and he's just like Googling stuff and looking at satellite pictures and looking at all these different layers on this map to figure out like what should go there. But we've had these experts and advisors that say like you should plant this mixture of trees, and you should put alder and willow down in the wet lower wet areas by the river, and then you should put like sea buck something like trees I've never even heard of before. He's like, make sure you plant 100 of those up there on the high part. I'm like, all right, cool, sounds good to me. So I'm learning a lot as I go about what trees are good where and in what mixture. But they'll give really detailed guides, like plant these at this density and plant these together in groups of 6 and plant those together over there, and we just do what they say.
So what's next? Like, you've conquered the PHP world, you've pissed off a lot of people in the PHP world, you've conquered the API world. You so far haven't really pissed off a lot of people in that world.
GraphQL people were pretty upset.
Yeah, well,
As
they're
they
wrong,
should
so
be.
they can just
Yeah. Those people are just miserable anyways. Who cares about them?
Well, yeah. I mean, some people need Velcro on their shoes, and some people need GraphQL. I'm just kidding. Anyway, so what's next?
That'd be a good slogan for your other podcast.
Absolutely. No, we'll just push forward. 200. Everything's okay. Literally everything, even when it's not. So yeah, next. So we're trying to go big with the charity, trying to buy land instead of working with little projects here and there with landowners. We want to like full on buy a whole chunk of land. Been looking at 200 acres in South Wales recently. That'd be pretty exciting. Just want to like pitch up a caravan on that and then just focus on working. I work for an American company, so I can work when it's dark, and I can just plant trees when the sun's up, and I can write code and blog and whatever else when the sun goes down, and just be a tree farmer. That's all I want. I'm from the southwest of England. I've got this farmer accent. I might as well use it to do some actual farming. That's what it's all about.
How long would it take to plant all those trees?
So when you're doing it by yourself, the suggestion is apparently 50 to 100 trees a day. We've seen people get a lot more efficient than that when they get into like a chain production, where like one person's got the shovel and they're digging holes, and another person is plopping the tree in and putting a tube on, and someone else is taking a photograph of it or whatever. When you have a really good efficient team like that, you can really knock them out. When we first tried doing it, it took us about a week to plant 100, but we were having to like slash hedgerows with blunt hand tools and stuff like that. So it really does vary. But yeah, I think if there's 100,000 trees, then like I'm calling every favor I have and getting everybody in I can possibly beg to come and help me plant some trees, because that will be a lot. And you can only
volunteer, but I'm pretty sure the flight kind of negates the purpose, right?
Well, yeah, but I'm definitely kidding. But at least with this, you would know that those trees are actually getting planted, right? Like all those, I'm going to offset my flight, probably never goes anywhere. But at least you actually know.
Just curious, like how many trees would you need to offset a flight from, let's say, New York City to London? And I'm not asking because I want to come over and plant trees.
You don't want permission. I forget the numbers off the top of my head. It's something, I think the flight is something like it's somewhere between 1 and 2 tons, right? Like the average footprint of an American is something like 20 tons of CO2 equivalent. And the average...
Is that for a year or for a day?
For a year. 20 tons CO2e. The average Brit is like 10. The average other European is like 5. And the average...
Is that because we're so fat?
Yeah, it's because you drive everywhere, man. And I think the average African is like 0.2. And so the flight is somewhere between 1 and 2, depending on which way you go, what the jet stream's up to, and who you ask. But like generally speaking, one tree will take up like a ton of CO2. Like it depends on the species and survival ratios and everything else. But like a ton of CO2 for a tree isn't that unreasonable. But the problem is it might take 50 to 100 years to get there. So yeah, it gets really difficult to do the math. Something along the lines of, I think someone said 340 tons per hectare, which is like an Olympic running circle. It's like a hectare. But yeah, I don't know. I don't do that math. We hire people to come in and verify how much carbon our trees will take up.
So I just looked it up because I was curious, and it's apparently 1.62 metric tons. So
nice.
Well, I am never going to London now.
How many trees would that be?
So yeah, 1.6 theoretically, but that only gets you one way. So
You have to
Well,
stay
look,
and be a tree
Phil,
farmer.
you don't have to be like the harbinger of doom here, okay? I'm trying to help. Trying to.
yeah. Well, yeah, it's also tricky as well because assuming that one tree will make it to 100 years is like unlikely as well. So I guess, yeah, plant. I don't know because different websites ask for different amounts of money as well. So like if I was going to say like plant 10 trees or whatever, like 10 native British broad oak, broadleaf trees, maybe. But if you spend like, you could probably spend $1.50 planting a few mangroves and that might not take up so much. So I don't know. Cut this whole bit, just rambling.
That's what the people listen for. Oh, Phil's not. I listen to people just bullshit for 2 hours. It'd be great.
Yeah, we have to fill up
absolute
their massive commutes and their big ass cars blowing up all.
By the way, my podcast time has really died down since this latest work from home stint. What about y'all?
You mean like listening to podcasts or creating podcasts? Because
No, creating went up, listening went down.
Did it? Because this is like the first one we've done in quite some time.
It's because I did another podcast without you.
You did what?
Are you cheating on him with a different podcast?
To be fair, I'm cheating. I'm cheating on Ben with yeah. No, I mean I go through phases with podcasts. Like I'll dive deep into them and then get sick of them in a week or two, and then it switches off. Like audiobooks are my big thing though.
I go back and forth. I feel like an audiobook needs like I don't know, a certain headspace or something. You know, like sometimes I don't want to learn anything. I just want to like listen to people talk about bullshit, you know?
It depends on the book. Like I tried to listen to like a fiction like On the Road by Jack Kerouac or something. I just couldn't get into it. But I listened to The Billionaire Loser, expecting to see a cameo from Phil talking about WeWork's terribleness. And it was like 10 hours just breezed right by, which I think that's how long the book was or something. But like, and I would just listen to it in spurts, like go walk the dog around the block, put it on. And that's all of 15, 20 minutes. But yeah, I don't know. It worked for me, but I get it.
I should check that out. So that's about Adam Newman?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it talks about the other guy, Miguel, whatever his name is. And then the antics of him and what's his name, Masayoshi's son, and then it gets to the IPO, and that's when it gets really good. It's good times.
Oh yeah, just nonsense. Hey, I looked up. I have a very good short answer for you now, so I don't have to ramble for like 10 minutes. So if you want to remember to cut at like minute 44. Then
we don't do that on this podcast.
We could do the how many trees to do the New York bit. Yeah,
it costs $1 extra to do cuts, and we don't have that.
I will give you $1.
Could be a tree.
Yeah, so minute 44. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, Matt, if you were to say how many trees would I need to go to New York, right? Then we could do that.
So how many? So rough estimate, like if I want to go to, let's say, London from New York City, how many trees am I looking at?
That is a tricky one, but according to most numbers for how much CO2 is pumped out by that flight, somewhere between 1 and 2 tons of CO2 equivalent, right? So if you take all the different gases and math them to be the equivalent of CO2, somewhere between 1 and 2 tons. A acre of woodland can supposedly sequester about 2.5 tons a year. So you plant a bunch of trees in a field, that brand new forest each year will take up somewhere about 2.5 tons, which is about the same as the flight. So yeah, you've got to plant an acre of woodland for your flight. And an acre of woodland costs about £10,000. So if you want to start bulk buying some acres, you know, then they get cheaper the more acres you buy. So we're trying to buy 200 acres where it's about £4,000 an acre. But the actual amount of money that it will cost you to soak up a flight is somewhere between £4,000 and £10,000. That's before you've even got around to buying the trees. So the real cost of creating woodland is really high, and that's why you want to be very suspicious of anyone that can do it quite cheaply. So yeah, just don't fly is the answer to that one. Sorry.
Let's go.
We've got to make a train. We've got to do a channel tunnel, but to New York, so I can come hang out with you guys.
You've been to America, right? Mean, like, we don't believe in trains.
Yeah,
they're socialist. They're socialist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus drives a Ford F-150.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But I'm going to come see you guys. I got to take a cargo ship. It takes 8 days. I get to hang out with pirates and drink rum and play poker. But
are you seriously going to do this?
Yeah. It's the lowest carbon footprint way to get to the States, apart from a sailboat. But I don't have a Moroccan prince friend like Greta Thunberg.
It also sounds like the easiest way to die on the way to the States.
It's probably safer than being in America, though, right?
Depends on the part, really. I mean, if you go to Texas, it's probably not that safe.
Right. Anyway,
my
you've been asked.
Texas living boss listens to this and he's like, "God damn it, making fun of Texas again."
It's easy to do. Hey, you guys have been asking me a bunch of questions, but I have a very important question for you. What all drama have I missed while I've not been paying attention to what's going on in PHP? Has there been any nonsense going down that I've missed out on? It's all going that smooth.
There's been some father Christian husbands upset about the election.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I pointed out that wasn't a very mature stance to take. Nothing better than that, really.
No, everyone's just kind of retreated to their own corners and just they're doing their own things. Trying to think, the Laravel is now on a yearly release cycle instead of a bi-yearly release cycle.
Okay.
But I mean, even that didn't really cause any kind of ripple. It's just kind of like, okay, yeah, we get it. It's fine. Cool.
I guess now you get major breaking changes once a year instead of every 6 months. That's probably all right. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, go Ben.
There was one I was trying to remember who did it, but with the PHP 8, there was someone that was kind of lagging behind with their package updates, and that was like a thing for a week. Mostly PHP is pretty boring now, though, right? Like, it's kind of matured a bit. I think we've all gotten older, and we go to bed early.
Fair enough. Where's the drama at? Which language or framework should I use if I want to get my fix of just childish people screaming at each other about nothing? What do I...
GraphQL?
We did that one already. We can't just...
No, we can... That horse is not dead yet. We can beat the shit out of it.
Ruby seems to be a good source for that still somehow. Maybe it's just DHH.
I mean, you could just follow DHH for hot takes on anything, really, though.
Yeah, no, I saw that we reinvented Ajax 3 times in the last month, but I was doing tree stuff, so I didn't.
But it's easier and more backendy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
He also reinvented email, and then created a fake drama around Apple, so that way he could get more people to sign up. So that was cool. Like,
yeah, I mean, lockdown is hard for some people. You know, there's just nothing much to do. You gotta whip up some fucking fake drama, I guess.
Oh, he was doing a great job of so they set up this thing where like you could email them your angsty thing, and then it would print off a piece of paper onto a conveyor belt, and then it would light the paper on fire, which like was terrifying from a carbon emissions thing. Like, why?
Yeah, I actually saw that.
Bitcoin?
Right. At least with Bitcoin, theoretically, you could buy something, but just straight up burning shit is not even slightly useful. Yeah, I got into a bit of a shouting match with Jason What's-His-Face from Hey about that. I actually was talking to him about it, and he was saying, well, actually, we are carbon offsetting this, so it's fine. And I was like, that is absolutely not what carbon offsets are about. Carbon offset isn't just hitting undo on you doing pointless grandstanding bullshit. I think that might have been an actual direct verbatim tweet, but yeah, we got into a bit of a backwards and forwards about it, and then some like random fanboys started jumping in, and they were like, oh well, John Oliver recently blew up 2020. He had a giant thing that said 2020, and he blew it up. Do you think that's okay? I was like, no, I love John Oliver. He's my spirit animal. But if I was having a conversation with him and he was like, Phil, do you think I should like set off an explosion for giggles? I'd be like, or don't, right? I would ask him to please not. So burning shit pointlessly is not okay just because you've done a carbon offset. And doing it for marketing is just the dumbest. It's just the dumbest thing. Can't you find any other way to be entertained? I just want to get him like, I don't know, get him one of them like cup with a ball on a string and just be like, go play with that or something instead if you're fucking bored. Genshin Impact is really interesting. Play that for 5 days or 5 months, but yeah, just don't burn shit. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, outside of that, it's been pretty quiet. It's actually like too quiet.
Yeah, maybe conferences were the secret source of the drama, and now that those are gone, there's no drama. I don't know. It's my theory.
Oh, because we were all being brought together where we had to pretend that we got on and then
you put like 1,000 nerds in a room and get them really drunk and they fight. It's surprising.
Right. There's lots of really socially awkward people here that are incredibly drunk, and one of them said something bad. Let's all talk about that for 3 months.
I mean, we'll just say there's been a strong lack of men doing creepy things at conferences. Can only imagine why.
I haven't heard anyone called a hobbit in months.
Yeah. That'll probably change just because, it is what it is.
Well, how close are you guys to getting vaccines? Matt, you're getting something, right?
Yeah, I'm high up on the list because my girlfriend is high up on the list for reasons. And so as soon as they say go, I am 100% like sleeve up, stick it in me. I'm good. So hopefully she has to travel for work here in a couple of weeks. And so we're really hoping to get it, at least the first one, before that point. But I live in Tennessee and our governor is doing a great job at falling down, trying to manage this whole thing. It's amazing. Like, this is what failing your way up to the top looks like, is how our governor is handling things. It's
right.
Awesome.
But most of these idiots just expected to be able to kind of corrupt their way through a couple of years of getting tax breaks on the slide. They didn't think they'd actually have to do anything. So really, I feel sorry for them. They've had all this pressure put on them when all they've done is take bribes.
I mean, I will say, like, people want to like dunk on Trump for being a terrible person, and he absolutely is a terrible person. But man, like, having Biden in the White House and having like the adult back from vacation after like a 4-year extended trip to wherever they went to is great, because now we're seeing, like I was reading, like we're seeing exponential growth in vaccine distribution across America, and it just feels good to have adults in control of things. Yeah.
I mean, having an actual like leader, it doesn't even have to be good, just like better than a total twat. Like having an actual president just feels like sobering up after being just drunk for 4 years. And then I realized I'd been drinking my way through the Trump presidency, and that's actually what happened.
I think the weirdest thing for me has been like politics is not as interesting anymore, right? Like, it used to fill up a certain percentage of my day just following the drama and the existential dread. And now there's just like productive time. What do I do with this?
That's what it was. That's why there's no PHP drama. Everyone's drama boots have been completely filled by by all of the politics stuff going on. Everyone's screaming at each other and screaming at their family and screaming at everyone else. They're like, can we just write code in peace? Yeah, that looks like a very interesting project. I'm not going to use it. Never mind. Like, and everyone's just suddenly nice to each other.
I respect your opinions on that. Now I'll move on.
Yeah, agree to disagree. We're all...
Well, I mean, I don't know. There was that one guy who read a lengthy blog post who was like trying to start some drama, apparently, and everyone just kind of moved on with his reasons on why he was going to vote for Trump. It was pretty good to see everyone just like, we're not going to engage. We're just going to move on and make fun of you behind your back.
Yeah, and what I really like about that is before anyone's even been cancelled, everyone just goes, I bet I'm going to get cancelled soon. Oh, you're going to cancel me? You're going to cancel me? Everyone's like, no, we just don't. We're just not very impressed with you, honestly. We just don't care about you. You're not cancelled. You're just clearly too stupid to follow. Like, there was no real drama there that I saw.
I mean, I will say, like, I remember leading up to the inauguration, I was, like, in a state of mental wreck because I was just, like, doom scrolling my way, like, from morning until night, and then I'd wake up and doom scroll again. And now that that's all gone, like, I've replaced it with playing chess and making memes and sending them to my coworkers because I'm like, what do I do? Like, Twitter is boring.
Oh, I'm sorry they broke it. You need to get on Clubhouse where you can listen to Bitcoin bros and God knows what else.
Am I too old for this? Because I don't fucking get Clubhouse. Is it just
I feel too
with
old.
random people? Yeah. Like, what is it?
It's just this, I think.
It's just a bunch of white guys recording themselves?
Probably. I mean, Elon Musk was on it pretty quick. Yeah, I've been invited to go and do something with a bunch of API vendors, do a tooling panel where I can't imagine that's good. We did one very professional one. I was on the panel at the Postman Galaxy, and as per usual, someone was just complaining about OpenAPI because it does something, and all they want is something, and the things they're describing are the same. So I have to explain that to them on a panel where they're experts. Yeah, polite and professional is easy on a like conference panel, I guess. But then on Clubhouse, 7 p.m. American time, probably just going to be drunk. So I don't know if I want to go do that.
I hear there's no consequences there, right? Because it's not recorded. So sure, do it.
Oh yeah. Oh shit. And this one is recorded, isn't it? Yeah. So I probably should have done that the other way around, where I got it right. I'm still learning how this stuff works.
So you left New York, and I'm pretty sure everyone I knew there has now left as well, except for like 2 people. So what'd you do?
Everyone's gone. Everyone's gone apart from 2 of my favorite bartenders. They're still sticking it out, waiting for me to come back. Nice. But yeah, I don't know. I think New York's kind of done for me. I'm not really trying to get back to the States right now. I've gone and got myself Dutch residency. Bit of a drama with Brexit and COVID, kind of screwing that all up at the same time. We were Brexiting, and so I was there for the last half of December trying to get my paperwork sorted out, and then the offices all closed because of COVID lockdowns. So I've had to go backwards and forwards between the Netherlands and the UK several times in quarantine on both sides and get my nose jabbed both sides. I had like 9 COVID tests now. I'm getting sick of it, but yeah, I managed to get my Dutch residency, so I'm still European. I just have to learn to talk funny.
Yeah, do you have to learn Dutch?
Yeah. Yes. At some point, if I want to get my Dutch citizenship, then I have to learn it. And currently, all I really know is nooking in the keuken, which means fucking in the kitchen. And
essentials.
What? Sorry.
Essentials.
Yeah, the essentials. Yeah, just not really anything useful, just little bits here and there. But it's my favorite thing in the world. I promise. I mean, no offense to any Dutch people. I say this with love because I am becoming one of you now. I've met some Germans who call the Dutch swamp Germans because it's really similar to German, but just a bit different. And like they're living in land that was pulled out the sea. So yeah, a lot of stuff sounds a lot like English, just kind of funny. Like they're all Germanic languages, right? Like the Dutch branched off of Germany, off of German, and English. Old English kind of branched off of German. So there's loads of stuff that sounds really, really similar. And so like someone could just be talking away in Dutch and then you like get bits of it. It's really weird. But yeah, definitely can't say anything useful just yet.
Is there any relation between like in German it's Deutsch, right? And Dutch? Is that am I just a dumb American, or is that related somehow?
Probably. I don't know. There's 2 countries that Americans get confused all the time in Europe, which is Slovakia and Slovenia. And a lot of people think they're the same thing. They're 2 really similar words that just kind of both come from Slovak, which is like a name for the people that were there before any of those countries existed or whatever, just like historically kind of branched off the same. So there's a lot of stuff like that in Europe that I haven't got a clue about, but just Google it. I'm not fucking Wikipedia, Ben. Do your own work.
Now, this is the section of the show where we give you random airport codes and you tell us exactly how many trees it takes to offset them.
I will build you a calculator that does that. And no, I won't.
That'd be a great Chrome extension. You know, like I'm going to book a flight on Delta and you just like horrify me with how many trees it would take to offset.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a load of those around, and they're all like, it'll be like €5, and they're like, oh, cool, I can spare €5. Why am I saying euros to Americans? I don't know, but yeah, ain't much. And then, yeah,
Well, Matt got really bored, and
and he's out.
Yeah, maybe the snow finally took him out.
Could be.
Hey, Matt, thanks for joining us on the PHP Town Hall.
All right.
Look, dumb trackpad exited me out.
All right, so thanks for joining us, Phil. I think we've covered everything to the point that Matt is just tired of your shit. So yeah, it's been fun.
That seems fair. Thank you for having me back on the podcast, everyone. If you want to check out what I've been working on recently, check out stoplight.io for all the API stuff, and protect.earth. We've got one of them fancy .earth domains. So you can see what we're up to with all the tree planting stuff. And then give me all of your money so I can do a carbon offsetting scam. That's what it's all about. Just about taking your money for scams.
All right, and we're running a contest. If we get 5,000 trees, Phil will shave his head live on Clubhouse.
I think that's audio only, so I'd be happy to do that.
Wait, is it? I thought it was video.
I don't know. I haven't even looked at it. This is the I mean, we're all in our 30s somewhere, and we're just kind of, we don't know anything. It's like TikTok or whatever. Just like spent years just not even looking at it. I haven't even typed in clubhouse.com or whatever.
I just got an Instagram like 2 weeks ago, and I signed up, right? Because my buddy was like, oh, there's this golf chat in there or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And then I go to sleep. Like I sign up, upload a bunch of shit, go to sleep, and I wake up in the morning, and my parents have liked on my pictures. I'm like, how the fuck are my parents on Instagram before me? Like, this is not okay.
No. Yeah, well, I'm going to sign off and go and record a cool new dance on TikTok, and then Clubhouse after that. See you guys.
Cool. Yeah. See you later.